Hi everybody, I hope you're all doing well, that you're happy and healthy. And first wanted to say TGIF, thank God it's Friday, happy Friday. The weekend's coming up, I hope you have a lot of great things planned. And it's definitely been very beautiful here today so far. And yeah, I've been at work this week. I went back to work on Tuesday, so it's taken me a little while to get back on here and make another video. So I'm going to try to do one before I do anything else today. But yeah, so first of all, let's take a moment to thank Papa, my angels, and our spirit guides, ours, for guiding, protecting, and loving us, and helping me in channeling these messages to you today. Thank you very much. Okay, so again, first of all, I want to go into my last video. I tend to want to do that. And I just wanted to say, when I reviewed it again, I made mistakes, and I said a few things that didn't make sense when I reviewed it. I saw that, as far as for my children's age, ages when I had my kids, that was all messed up. I said I had my oldest son and then my second son 7 months later, and they were all 3.5 years apart, and that was that didn't come out right. And so anyway, just to correct that, I actually got pregnant for my second son 7 months after my first was born, and then about 2.5 years after my second son is when I got pregnant for my daughter. And I actually didn't go into labor at 6 weeks. What I meant to say is that she was a preemie, and I went into labor 6 weeks early. So she came along at 32 weeks, not 40. That's what I meant to say. So I apologize. Again, I'm not perfect, and I'm just being real. So wanted just to say that. Second thing is that this is really hard for me to do this. This is taking a lot for me to share all this with you. It takes me back to times in my life when it was really difficult for me and painful and very challenging, and I've not spoke up about my experiences. I've lived with them my whole life, and this has been my whole life. I am now in my early 50s, so it's a long time. I haven't said a word, and I am only doing this to help someone else. There's no intention there of hurting anyone. I have a right to speak my truth, and that's what I want to do. So I want to make sure that I put that across again. There's some things that I came across that I'm not sure if it was geared to what I've been saying or not, but I'm not there to hurt anyone. So many years, and again, to go back, I've dealt with a lot of difficult situations with a lot of different people, and I had to overcome a lot of abuse and a lot of unhealthy relationships, and there are other people involved in it, and they've definitely had their say on what they wanted to say about me all these years. And okay, but I haven't. This is my time, and Papa wants me to do this, and I'm doing this for the greater good of anyone who wants to take what I have experienced, and if it helps them, then it's beautiful. So it's not a negative thing at all, it's so positive. So I needed to make sure that I do again say that this is my time and this is my experiences, okay? So I can do this. I'm allowed to do this, and it doesn't make me a horrible person. Doesn't mean I choose love. I don't choose hate. And I really tried really hard to, in my videos, to make sure that you see, you know, the good and the bad in all angles, you know, and not just that, but that everyone is human, and what they've gone through is their journey and what they've been through, and you know, so I give them that. You know, I'm not doing this to be malicious whatsoever. Okay, so anyway, I had this really amazing experience yesterday, and I'll love to share it with you if you don't mind me taking another few minutes and doing that. But I've actually, you know, I've talked about our angels that we have, right? And spirit guides. We do have angels and spirit guides that follow us through our life. It could be ancestors that passed on before us, or just guides that are on our particular journey through life to help us through our lessons and accomplish what we're meant to do, if that is our purpose, right? If we have a purpose in life. So again, I'm very spiritual now, you know, and I really have learned a lot about my spirit guides and angels, and I invite them every day into my life, and I acknowledge their presence in my life, and I love having them around me. So anyway, I had this experience yesterday. It was during the day, actually. I was out doing my laundry, and you know, I really kept thinking about, you know, I'll try not to say that again and all these you knows. I really reflect back on my life, and I want to make sure that I am showing up well for you, you know, and saying what I'm saying to you. And anyway, I had a vision, and I saw one of my spirit guides. I've seen him before about a year ago, and I didn't really recognize it because it was my first time. I was not fully awoke yet. My intuitive, my gifts weren't fully developed yet, but he definitely came through to me already that one time last year as I was going through major lessons in my life and ending certain cycles in my life that had been repeating. And he is definitely an amazing spirit guide, and I'm very blessed. I thank you for having him there for me, because he was, to describe him, first of all, he is a warrior. He definitely is a warrior. And he was armed up. He had the helmet. I could see his eyes, though. I see him very clearly in my mind. So he was armored up, not fully, I could see his face. I could see him, and he's armored in the chest, but not totally covered in his arms, in the tops of his thighs and down his legs, just like up here, you know, and in the middle and on top of his head and around his head. And he's built like a brick house. He's huge. He's big. He is all muscled up, and he is very intimidating to look at. Actually, I had mixed feelings when I looked at him again, because he was standing in front of me, and I'm ending cycles in my life. I am growing spiritually, and I've been through my share of spiritual warfare on my journey to finding the light and finding my path and where I'm going in my life to help people. And it really is true. It's so important. And I say that as well, is that when you do spread good in the world, and you want to, the more good that you're giving out, the more of a fight you're going to have from the spiritual world, from the other side. Like that, you will have a lot of evil come up against you, in other words. So there really is a spiritual battle that goes on up there for us people who do love to shed the light and to bring up people and try to spread love. So I want to say spiritual warfare, it is real. And I've been shown that as well in the spiritual world, that there's been some major battles going on for me for years, to help me get through what I was going through, so I could be where I am, safe and okay today, to do what I'm supposed to do, because I'm here to carry out what God wants me to do. And so I have protection there. They want me to do that too. I have my spirit guides and my angels and God are there backing me up to make sure that this can happen. So anyway, that's really huge, and that's really amazing. And but yeah, so what he did is he was standing right in front of me, and I'm just saying, big, right? Just this really big man, and he had a really intense gaze, and his eyes were really like very authoritative and meaning business, like a warrior would. And he had a huge sword in his hand, and he was like ready for a fight, and then he just threw the sword right into the ground, really angry, and sent out all these shock waves out around him, and then it extended out way beyond him, all around him, along with like bring dust and everything else, like so super powerful. The ground shook. He just boom, and he was like standing there, and he was ready for a fight, and he was very authoritative, like putting an end to things. So that was really that was intense. And I had this vision, the same guy come to me a year ago, like I said, when I was battling. Again, I felt like I was battling in a spiritual sense. So I have him here. I have this amazing spirit guide with me all the time, and I really was praying at that moment to them that I really want to end, that I've really want to have learned. I want this. I've learned all my lessons. I don't want to bring in any more trauma into my life at this point. I want to give. I want to be healing and healed so I can help. So that's when he did this, and it was like a final judgment. It was like a boom, like we've got you, and he made it happen. Like, this is it. And anyone who comes up against you is going to be having karma. That's all I'm going to say. So they're there defending me, and I'm well protected. So I thank you again for that. But I wanted to share that with you. That was super amazing. And when he did come to me again a year ago, I did see some major things happening in certain people's lives. It affected them, and so they're fighting for me, and it feels great and wonderful. So anyway, yeah, so I really thought that was great. I've been through a lot of bad relationships, like I said, and I'll continue to go on and tell you those things, tell you more about it. But I've been very judged, and there's been so much gossip as well that has been spread about me, and I know that it does now, even to this day. And the thing is, when people have good intentions and put it out there and want to do good, there are people out there as well who are going to be trying to stop you. And I feel that, I know it intuitively. I know it's out there. I know it was there years ago. I've had proof of it, and And then I also know, I just know it is what it is. And people have made themselves known that they are doing it to me. I have proof. I do have proof as well of this, of being attacked in this way, and people just spreading malicious lies and rumors about me and gossip. And I just want to put that out there. And again, I just need to really say that, you really shouldn't. First of all, gossip is so terrible. It's really not a good thing. I grew up in an environment of gossip, and it's easy to get into. It really is. And, it just kind of go with the flow of it. With people that are around you that you love are doing it, and you want to be part of the crowd, right? You do. So you kind of join in, whether you really intentionally want to or not. It just kind of does. Sometimes you just get sucked into it. So, but when I became more awoke and my life was changing, I was even more so aware of gossip and the evilness to gossip and what it can do to someone. And it's not fair. It's people getting together and talking about another person or a group of people, and they're based on rumors. Now, some can be factual, but a lot of it isn't. And it's there to, it's caused by people who are normally it's all out of jealousy and just pure evil hatred. So really, no one should, when people are talking about others, you first of all try not to engage in that, because then that brings you in as part of that as well. And again, it's so important. What you put out there, you reap what you sow again, right? It's karma. Eventually, karma catches up to you. Karma never loses an address. I don't care how far away you move. I don't care how many times you move. I don't care. Karma is real, and eventually it will catch up with you. It will, for one thing. So what you put out there, you put out good, and you're going to receive good, right? And you know how I said love, how it loves to spread and keep on giving and growing? Well, so does evil. Evil will do that. People that put out gossip, it spreads, right? And it goes from one person, and it even gets more distorted as it goes down the line, but it spreads out. And that really can destroy someone's reputation. And most of the gossip is false. It's not the truth, and you're really hurting someone's reputation. You can really affect their life in a really big way. Your relationships, how people view them. It gets to people you're with, and they assume the worst of you, so again, mostly it's based off of jealousy. And if someone doesn't get their way, with you, and then, so what do? Then they get mad at you, and they want to get revenge. They get revengeful, and they want to hurt you. So be aware of that. Don't believe everything you hear, and don't participate in that. I actually began practicing that. I would move to Pennsylvania back in the early 2000, and I hated it. It got to a point where it repelled me from anyone around me that would gossip. Like, it started for me again when I was younger, and that was of the loyalty piece in my family, right? Is when you talk bad about each other, when you have people talking badly about another sibling, or just that way. That's how it started for me in my life. And if it hurts them. So I didn't like that, and I didn't want to be part of it. So I started to really think about that. How would I feel? Being empathetic, I can put myself in other people's shoes, but not everyone is. So what I would do, if you're interested in learning this, and I would hope that you would want the best, and you would want not to hurt somebody in that way, in any way. But what you do is, for every negative, first of all, when there's a group of people that are engaging in gossip, I would remove myself from it. I wouldn't entertain it, or I just wouldn't say anything. I would distract myself, do something else. And I wouldn't be mean. I wouldn't say negative things to them. Or I would, as time went on, I would, if I was there, I would try to stop the conversation and say something nice to that person, about that person, or say, well, just, we don't really know. We don't know. That's what we hear, right? So I really practice that a lot. And so you don't engage in that. Really try not to. And over time, I just found that I didn't want to be part of it. And like I said, I would just walk away from engaging in anybody who had anything negative to say. Once in a while, I'd catch myself, right? It doesn't just happen overnight either, and it takes work to do, and you're used to that. But and everybody, unfortunately, it's something that is done. It's just part of life, and the life we have, and the way it is being alive on earth, right? So just try to understand that it's just very harmful. It is, and it's not fair to the other person. They should be able to have a say. If you hear gossip, go to that person. Ask them. Don't be so quick to judge that what you hear is the truth. And let them at least defend themselves, or say, yeah, that is right, whatever the truth is, right? So that's only fair. So again, judging people, again, we shouldn't do that, right? We shouldn't. Why? Because we all mess up, for one, and we're not to be the judge of someone else's actions. God, Papa is. He will be the judge. And that's where it should be left. It's not in your hands to decide, to be the one to say, So, I've been judged. I've been gossiped on. There's been a lot of lies being said. I did have my reputation destroyed. And unfortunately, it did hurt all of my relationships. It really, really did. And I can give you examples of that. Because, it hurt all my relationships that I went into. It hurt especially when I came back to my hometown. I'll just go into it that way. When I connected with my partner, when I first moved over here and moved with him, and we grew up in the same town, and everyone already had an opinion of me without getting to know me. Give me a chance. Give people that chance. You don't listen to what's being said as being the truth. You take the source. Take it for what it is. Look at that person who is gossiping. What do they do that to everyone? How do they show up in life to people around them? If they're doing that to everyone, well, that tells you right there, right? Tells you a lot. That it's most likely not true. It's a reflection of them. People that are gossiping and trying to hurt people through gossip are actually very insecure people. So insecure, they have pleasure out of bringing other people down. Or, it's they're power hungry and they want to have the upper hand, or that, again, it's revenge from something in the past or something that's happened that they want to get back at the other person for. So give them that chance. So I came here, and everyone already had an opinion of me from my hometown. I was with someone from my hometown. His family and everyone around them had already had opinion of me and judged me. I was all that, I was divorced so many times, I didn't raise my kids, and I just was no good. So it affected what he thought of me, and I think it's affected another relationship, at least one other relationship I've been in from then, So it's very hard. It's not fair. It's cruel. So please don't do that, please. I'm only going to speak the truth. That's what I'm here to do when I say things. And I try to look at the whole picture and represent myself that way and what the situation is. So gossip is bad. And judging people is awful. Like, you don't know what that person's been through. You don't. You don't know what their life was like. How can you say, they're such a bad person, or form some sort of opinion of them? You haven't walked in their shoes. You don't know what they went through. I can't stress that enough. So again, it's not for us to judge. And I really had a hard time with that when I've had all these things happen to me, things that were not fair, and I was wondering, well, what's going to be done about this? It's not right. People are just going to get away with doing this to me, and I would just say, and God would just show me, He's like, I'm going to handle it. Don't carry that burden. It's not for you to carry again, right? Because it just robbed me of my happiness. I felt imprisoned. I felt like, I just felt so sad and upset all the time. But knowing that He knows the truth, He will handle it. Just continue to put the good out there, and it will all come full circle. You will get your just deserves. Everybody does, some way, somehow. And that's what helped me anyway. So I really wanted to say that. I think it's very important. It's just really important. And yeah, so, and people don't defend others anymore. And not many, not that I have witnessed in my personal experience again. And that's sad. It's so sad. It's just sad. Why? Why wouldn't you help someone who's not even there to defend themselves against all these people talking the way they are and putting them down? Why are people so quick to judge, again, to expect to think the worst of someone? But anyway, that's life, right? And we're learning, so it's all part of learning. And I had to learn it too, and I am, and I'm thankful that God taught me that lesson, and let me go through it so that I could see personally myself and experience it myself, to know what it feels like to be on that side. So that was just important. And yeah, so I know that eventually what happens in the dark comes to the light. That's my peace of mind, as well as knowing that Papa's got my back, and He is going to give justice where it needs to be. So, and the emotional part of what it does to someone, it really, really affected me on an emotional level, of course. You're feeling attacked by people. You're feeling like you're worthless. So it really affected my everyday life. It affected my work, home, everything. So, and it's very hurtful. So you don't want to do that. You don't want to hurt people, do you? For the most part, if you have a very good heart, you don't want to hurt people. You want to help people, raise them up, build them up. How people show up or don't show up in the worst moments says everything. And then, as far as what I mean by that is when someone is upset with you and you're not doing what they say, or you're not behaving the way they want, or they're not getting their way, and they lash out at you to hurt you, to destroy you. They never loved you. They never really were there for you. So, that's the piece that I left out in my last video. If you remember, when I was talking about what the other parent will do to your kids, that's what I meant too, is that the people that are there for you through thick and thin, through good and the bad, you still have your back, no matter what. Whatever happens, those are the people you want in your life. Now, you don't have to, I'm not saying to shut them out. No, I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is if they don't like your choices and they are so mean to you and revengeful, and if they abandon you because you didn't do what they wanted you to do or give them what they wanted you to give them, well then, they were never good for you to begin with. If they disappear and leave your life, you're actually better off in a way. I hate to say it that way, but if they're in your life, they're going to try to control you and what you do, and you're going to be miserable anyway. So if they fall away from your life, you're actually better off. If you ever heard that quote, rejection is God's protection. And it's really the truth. When you're rejected by these people who are mean to you, it's really going to give you peace ultimately if they're not there. I'm not saying that ultimately, again, it'd be wonderful if people did it and they could stay in your life, or they would say sorry and take accountability. That's another huge piece alone right there, accountability. And we all have it. We all should be accountable for the part that we play. But there's people that won't take accountability. And, there's many times in my life, all the time in my life, when people would not say sorry, would not take accountability for what they've done to me, that even to this day, that won't. And I had to be okay with that. I had to let it go. Just need to let it go. Not people won't. But you do have. You can't control what other people are going to do. But you can control what you're going to do, what you will do. And again, that's all part of what you choose, how you choose to be. Going back to the gossiping and what you say good or bad about people, you have that choice. It's your choice in what you choose to believe and what to say, what you put out there. So, and then you know what? If you have so much hate in your heart, you can't hate and love at the same time. You can't. It's one or the other. So, don't you want to feel love and feel that? It's the best feeling to have and the best thing to have in your life. And hatred and anger will only hold you back. And it keeps you in this prison, and it's just terrible, just a horrible, miserable, it's like hell on earth. Oh, it's no good. It's heavy, it's so heavy. So anyway, I just thought that was really important to share with you, and wanted to get on this time and talk to you about that. I was going to go into more about my life story, which I will on my next one, but this one I felt was so important. It says, Papa led me to talk about this right now. And then I've in dealing with what I've had to deal with, like going through what I've had to go through, is I've dealt with so many narcissistic people in my life, narcissist abuse, and that's just terrible. It's people who lack empathy for others, who are so self-absorbed, self-centered, and they feel like they're so much more important than the other person. And what they do is the people that are victims of narcissistic abuse, they will manipulate them emotionally, and they make them feel bad about themselves. And it's really, really painful for the victim, and it knocks them down and makes them think there's something wrong with them, and they gaslight them. They do whatever they can to keep that person down. And usually narcissistic type people have motives. They have people that they want to do this to because they see some sort of a gain that they can have from them. So you have to be really, really mindful, very careful, and really study that, because it's out there and there's a lot of them. Now, there are people who've grown up around narcissists and have narcissistic qualities but are not narcissists now because they've experienced narcissism and they take on some of those traits. You can heal from this. It's a personality disorder, narcissism, actually. So, anyway, people that are victims developed PTSD from narcissistic abuse, anxiety, depression, feelings of low self-worth, and then they feel like they have emotional lability, where they feel numb, they operate like they're a robot. Oh my gosh, I experienced that feeling for years in my second marriage. It was horrible. It's horrible. You feel numb. You lose feelings for everything, and then you wait for the next attack. You're always on guard. You're hyper vigilant, waiting for the next shoe to drop, so to speak, and like you're always looking over your shoulder. You're always expecting something to come your way, and then there's things that will trigger you. Found out I had PTSD after my first marriage through a friend that was just playing with me when I was in hospice, and I moved to Pennsylvania, and he was just roughing playing with me at work one day, and he pushed me up against not push me, but kind of put me up against the wall kind of thing in a fun, playful way, and I went up like this, and that shocked me. I just guarded myself, like I was, there was no feeling. It was like an automatic response. And so there's things also in other relationships where experiences would take me back there to the abuse, and I would totally shut down, and I would just curl up in a ball and wouldn't let anyone in. It can give you the nightmares. It gives you hard time sleeping. So it's really hard, and it can go from mild to really severe symptoms. So I do suffer from PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, and I thought that too is a constant struggle for me, and my moods are all over the place when I was going through it really deep, and I'll go into that more as I go into my other relationships, but that's just so important, that we put out that information out there for people that are in these types of relationships, it only gets worse too. It doesn't get any better. And people, they won't take accountability. They won't. And they always blame you. That's the other thing. You're always blamed for everything. So again, it's important. So if you're in that, you need to leave that. And a lot of these people are really obsessed with bringing you down. They become very obsessed. And I've experienced that as well. They're mean-spirited. They're just can be very, very, again, they're selfish. They're looking out for number one, for themselves only. They don't care. They really don't care about you. So just be aware of that. You know, and if you become people pleasers when you're a victim of narcissistic abuse, since you're knocked down and you feel like you're worth, like you have none, and you want to please, so you're going to try your best to make people like you. You're going to become that overgiver, right? Like I mentioned before. So if you are suffering from narcissistic abuse, first of all, get yourself some help. Go to support groups. Get more educated on this. And first of all, get away. Get away. Break it. Break that. And it can be dangerous. It really can. So it's so important that I always say that. And forgiveness. You know, I'm going to go into that a little bit too. When you go through, you don't make always the best choices in life, right? We don't. When we're going through all these abusive relationships, and we're not thinking so clearly, we're not. So, you know, we all, again, play a part in what happens to us, and we need to take accountability and for allowing, even if it's just a thing as allowing it to happen to us, or if you see signs and just not having the strength to get out of it right away, you know, just forgive yourself first and foremost. You always do the best that you can in every situation that you're in. Women and men are victims of abuse. So I'm not just speaking about women. And there's no race, there's no age, there's no social status. It gets everybody. So be kind to yourself. Get the help you need. You can get out of this, and you will be okay. It may take a while. It may take a lot of work. Most likely it will. Again, depending on how long you've been and how much exposure you've had with this type of personality. So anyway, I just felt that was really pulled to speak about this today. And if you just thank you again so much for joining me today. For those that are, if you find what I say offensive, you don't have to listen to me. This is if you want to, you choose to. I am not forcing anyone to listen to what I'm saying. This is all free will, right? And it's if you find that you're drawn to it and you feel like you can benefit from it, or again, it's just sharing, and it's up to you. But I hope that that's helped you, and I will be going on to my next video and starting to talk about my life journey from after my first marriage ended and going into Pennsylvania and my journey there. And I will reach out to you again really soon. Maybe, hey, who knows, maybe I'll do it right after this one. We'll see. But I love you guys. Stay happy, healthy, and safe. And I'll see you soon. All right. Take care. Thanks for coming.